Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee Break Live. I have a special guest for you. I am so excited, and today is a special day. Today is the launch day of my new book called Saving Nevada. And I have it's a true story, it's based on a true story, and I have Abigail Hale in my studio, and this story is about her. Her name is called Haley in the book, but in the flesh is Abigail Hale. Welcome, Abby.
Thank you for having me. This is so exciting. It's
Oh,
been a
I'm so
long time
excited.
coming, hasn't it?
Yes, I said that I was researching this book since 2018, but it's actually been since 2019. I just got confused because that was the date that you applied for the program, but we'll
Right.
get more into that in a little bit. But how do you feel about having your story told in a book?
I mean, it's kind of hard to describe. It's an honor, and it's also like a little bit of a vulnerability, but it's a good thing. And it's kind of surreal. So I'm very excited.
Okay. I'm excited too. I'm just beyond excited. So tell us a little bit about your farm. I love your place and I wanted you to share it with everyone.
It is a special place. So I live in Scotland Neck, North Carolina, in Halifax County. It's a very rural area, and we live on a farm that my husband's family grew up on. So his dad grew up here, and his grandmother grew up here, and his grandparents were here when he was growing up. And it's just a very special place. And once his grandparents weren't here anymore, we kind of took over the land, and he farms cotton and soybeans. And of course, I have horses here, so we don't need anything else. It seems like some days it's just a beautiful place. Um, and at the land that we're on, there's 75 acres, but his dad has a couple thousand total. We do have to
Wow.
get in the car to go to some of the farms, we say, but a few of them we just cross the road and we're there. So it's our own little piece of heaven.
Wow. There's no place better than being out in the country in the morning and hearing
Yeah,
horses crunch hay and smelling those fresh smells of the horses and the just the morning air.
absolutely. And chickens, we always have chickens here. So um
And a
and the ducks.
turkey in the book.
Yes, yes, Mr. Turkey. Can't forget him.
No. Um, so was there a certain person or an event that got you involved in horses to begin with?
Well, my grandfather was a horseman and my mom as well. But when I was really young, neither one of them were really at a season in their life where they were actively riding. Um, but they definitely planted the seed for me. And it was really just something I think I was born wanting to do. And so my parents did have me start formal lessons when I was in second grade on American saddlebreds, which
Okay.
which is a far difference from Mustangs, but that's where I got my start and never looked back.
Well, did you ever imagining entering a program like the Extreme Mustang Makeover?
I did not, when I was a kid, I didn't even know a lot about Mustangs. I mean, I knew about the wild horses on the Outer Banks, which I know you know a lot about that.
I do.
I
I have
remember,
one.
I remember seeing them as a kid and wanting to interact with them so badly, but knowing I was supposed to keep my distance. But as far as the horses out west, I guess I just didn't know as much about them. We didn't have YouTube and the Facebook and everything we have today to really expand, my knowledge on things. I think the first time I really heard about a Mustang was the book called Shy Boy by Monty Roberts that talks about his Mustang. And I read that when I was younger. And I think that might have started to plant the seed that I was like, that seems like something I would like to do. Um, And I think that I had told you before, the book Black Beauty, even though he
Yes.
wasn't a Mustang, it was still a challenging wild horse that he had that special bond with, and that was one of my favorites as a youngster. So,
That was one of my favorites too. And the Black Stallion and
uh-huh.
Seabiscuit.
Yes, the
Yes.
Black Stallion, and I think the Black Stallion's the one I meant actually, because that's
Yes.
the one I think of riding on the beach, and I said Black Beauty, but
Yes.
I liked Black Beauty too. But yeah, the Black Stallion was the
Yes.
one that I was referring
Oh
to
yeah.
there. So.
The Black Stallion reminds me of this whole book.
Yes, it does me too.
Yes. Well, are you glad that you entered the program?
Absolutely. It's a great program. And, you know, going into it, you think, oh, this is going to be fun, but it's really, it's a lot of work, but it's, taught me a lot about myself, and, I would go back and do it, if I could, and I probably will do it again.
Oh,
That's still, right after the competition, we had COVID and all sorts of stuff. So, but I'm ready to get back to it. Maybe we'll see. I
oh wow, that's exciting. Keep me in touch on that,
will.
in the know, because I would love to follow your journey. Well, what was the biggest challenge, would you say, with your Mustang for the makeover?
Yeah. So she was, an aggressive Mustang, and that was the one thing I really didn't think I was going to get. You think I was thinking I was going to get a horse that was kind of like, a shy deer, just really, timid, that I could kind of whisper to, and we would have a special bond. But instead, I got a big, lion of a beast who really just, wanted to fight for her own survival. So that was challenging, not only, physically, but it was very challenging emotionally, because she disliked me with such passion that I really, had to dig a lot deeper than I thought I was going to have to. So,
Yeah. Because you're hoping to just fall in love with this horse, and then the horse just, doesn't feel the same way.
absolutely, yes.
That's a challenge.
Yeah.
Would you say that Mustangs are different than other horses? And if so, how?
Yes. Obviously, being from the wild, if they've been out there, the longer they've been out there, I think the more they've kind of set their ways. And if they haven't had humans as part of their life at all, um, they just, it takes them a little while to accept it. But I think innately they're just born a little different. They have those strong survival skills that, of course, all horses have very strong survival skills, but there's something about a Mustang. It's just on a different level. Their awareness of the little things that we do. They kind of show you that they really are reading your body language and your emotions so deeply. And I don't get that always when I'm around a domestic horse, that feeling, that I'm being understood or read as closely as I do with them. And it's not just, the one in particular Mustang that I had for the competition. It's been every Mustang I've been around since is similar. So yeah. So I would
So they're
definitely say
just tuned in.
they are. They are. And they have to be, I guess, if they're, in the wild living in a herd, they have to be able to really read each other and, communicate to survive. And so I think they've just got that um, extra piece that a lot of domestic horses kind of turn off because they don't need it as much. So,
Yes, so true. Can you describe the love you felt for this horse?
oh goodness, it's hard to describe, um, because when you work so hard for something, that makes it all the sweeter. But, I think the love I had for her was not, um, obviously it did develop over time, but going back to what I was going to say, it was not something that came slowly. I think I was in love with her the first time I saw her, but the love kind of, evolved, definitely, from more of a, oh, I'm going to help you, to, wow, look what you've taught me. You're, I couldn't, a different kind of love and respect.
Yeah. She trains you somewhat
Yes.
to analyze yourself. Yeah. Well, what is the biggest lesson you learned from being in the makeover?
The biggest lesson I think I learned is that um, things are never going to go like you expect, and that's part of life, and that's the beauty of life. To be ready for anything, and to kind of take the cards that you're dealt and make the best of them. And that's definitely something that you hear, but to really have to live it in different scenarios that life gives us, this was definitely one where I was dealt cards that I wasn't expecting and had to make the best of them. So
That's a good answer.
yeah.
Why is this book appropriate for any reader, even if they don't own a horse?
Well, as you can probably tell, it's full of life reflections and lessons that, horses, animals, children, all different aspects of life teach us big things about ourselves. But I think this story touches on so many different levels of challenges that we face, everybody faces. Like I said, being dealt different cards, or having to overcome financial challenges, and kind of trying to figure out what is your calling. Like, why are you so drawn to certain things? I'm drawn to horses, but some people might be drawn to something else, and you've
Mhm.
got to kind of figure out why, and be brave enough to kind of dive into it. And I think that I think we're all given special talents and um, certain, I guess, taste. I'm trying to think, different strokes for different folks. It takes all kinds of kinds, kind of that kind of thing. I think that I was given the horse gene, I call it, because my purpose is to use the horse to share um, things with others that might not, necessarily have a connection with horses, but just have the desire, or not desire, but um, kind of like, one example was like, I think I've said this to you before. I feel like my connection with Christianity is stronger because of horses. And so whatever it is in your life that makes you tick, it's usually because there's a reason for it. If that makes sense.
Yes. Would you
But
say
that
there's
was
a
a lot
faith
of words to
element?
get to that, but that's kind of what I feel like, if you're doing something that you love, other people are gonna enjoy watching you do it no matter what it is.
Would you say there was a faith element involved in this whole story?
Absolutely. Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Wow. And so how can people find you? You have a training barn. I Let's put this up here. Abigail, I put horsemanship. I'm sorry, it's
That's
Abigail Hale
okay.
Horses. I
Yeah.
apologize.
It's
But
okay.
how can they
Actually,
find you?
when I was trying to decide, and this was back before the makeover, because a lot of people do put horsemanship beside their name, but the reason I went with Abigail Hill Horses was because I wanted it to be more about the horses than me, because that's kind of the center of what I do is, I want it to be horse centered. And I do offer training and riding lessons, and I just enjoy sharing my lessons that I've learned, whether it was from growing up, things I did with horses, or things I've learned more recently. I love to share with other people with the same passion. So
How can they find you? Are you on social media? Do you have a website or
yes,
anything?
I have Facebook, YouTube. I do have a website, Instagram, and that I do have TikTok too, but I'm not on there as much. I try to get on there. But I'm
On your spare time?
yeah, that's right. But it's abigailhorses.com, and that's how I am on all the other platforms as well.
Well, I appreciate your perseverance and your giving attitude, and you're just a remarkable person that just gives and gives, and I really admire that quality in you. And thank you for sharing your story with me. It's just been my passion project since 2019, and it's finally here. It finally came to fruition. Oh my gosh. And I appreciate all the questions, endless questions I've asked you. And I know you're a very busy person and you've always responded, and helped me through this whole process. And I appreciate it.
I mean, I appreciate you bringing this to life and kind of seeing more than I even saw in it. It's been the whole journey of sharing my story with you has been a way for me to reflect, and it's really kind of been part of the journey as well. I mean, really, it's been really special, um, and I'm glad that you have the talent to put everything and make it into something that can be shared with others. So
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, so today it goes on, it's launched today. Today is the day that the book, Saving Nevada, is out for the public. And I am just beyond excited for people to read your story.
I am too. and, um, and of course, if anybody does want to reach out or has any um, questions, of course, I can't give away the story, but after they've read it, if there's
Yeah,
anything
it's
that they
kind of
want to
a
know more,
keep
please.
you, it's kind of keep you on the edge of your seat kind of story.
Yes, it is.
Well, I appreciate your time today and thank you for
Yes.
joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.